Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Western Shore, a map by BulletBill. This is episode number 2, and thank you for coming back for another episode. Now, before we get into the role play and before we kind of get into our chores for this episode, let me crank the time up there just a little bit. I did want to go over a few equipment changes that we made and the reason why. First of all, the reason why. Today is January the 1st, New Year's Day. BulletBill shared with me a whole mess of mods. And I don't have a problem playing with default in-game Giants versions of equipment, but sometimes when someone shares with you some mods, and especially when they are as fantastic as these are that he has shared with me, and again, I've got to reiterate what I said in the first episode. These are private mods. I will not share these with anyone because that is just not the way that it works. We've got to respect our modders, and I am very, very thankful that and blessed that BulletBill shared these with me. The first substitute swap that we did was we got rid of the Land Cruiser and got this Toyota. And I just absolutely love this. So let's run down this direction. We'll go over these changes here, and then I'll come back and show you what we've made down at the other end. We swapped out the Bobcat for the JCB. I think that's better suited for a British style map. And then the Merlot here, this little guy, I had this thing on a Farm Sim 17 map, and it was squirrely as all get out. But I tell you, BulletBill has tamed this thing down, and I'm looking forward to playing with it here on Farm Sim 17 and having some good fun with it. And then we'll jog on down here. Two more changes that we've made. BulletBill knows that I love the Marshall trailer that I had here, and he gave me his version, which is a little better suited for the British style map, and it works and looks fantastic. I believe it's also got the updated logo and everything, is what he mentioned. And then we've got the Kloss harvester and the C490 header. The fint that we had was just a little bit too much harvester for this size of map, and Kloss will fit in right nicely. So let's go ahead and run on down to this end of the field and this end of the farm. I'm not playing football, but I have been watching some on TV. We did swap out the Deutzfahr with this particular version. This has got a wonderful sounding engine, which I'll start up here and let you hear the startup sounds on this. Just fantastic. And the other change that we have made, we didn't make any changes to our baling equipment for right now. As I have said before, I tend to like to do square bells on maps that have some elevation changes and stuff to them. So we're going to stick with that equipment for right now. No equipment to our fuel stuff either. And then down here, we've made some substitutions. We replaced the Kuhn pack equipment with these two mods here, and I'll talk more about these as we use them here later down the road. And then we swapped out some of our grass handling stuff with the Corona tedder and the Corona rake, and then we also swapped out, I realized, and I did this before BulletBill sent me the mods, I was looking for a smaller seeder because I realized that I had way too much seeder parked in this barn for what we needed on this map, especially with just 3 fields. So let's go ahead and get started. This is probably going to be a short video, only because this is actually the second time I've recorded episode number 2. I recorded episode number 2 this morning before I got the mods from BulletBill. And so I just felt that, well, I needed to put these into play, and I wanted to basically let you all know that I had made these modifications. Not that it matters, but I will just tell everyone that I play for primarily my own enjoyment, because hey, if I didn't do this, then I most likely would not be able to record videos because it's a stress reliever for me from my hectic job and hectic life and everything. And so I do I will say that I do reserve the right, and those of you that have watched my videos for some time kind of know this. I reserve the right to make equipment changes and whatnot as I see fit, as you know, if I want to try something new or whatever. And I do tend to try to work it into the storyline in some shape, form, or fashion. And I will always try to do that just so that it's a little bit more, maybe a little bit more realistic. I know that, you know, I say when I use the word realistic and I'm talking about making substitutions whenever I want to, I know that that's not necessarily realistic. But again, I'm kind of doing this to have fun, and I'm sharing my experiences and everything with you who enjoy watching. So let's get into the role play now. So, and I, by the way, I appreciate everyone's patience as I get this map going. For me as a content creator, it's always a little rocky getting things going the first out of the box because you know, there's different things you want to try and some things don't work, and you realize, oh boy, you put too large of a cedar on the map and stuff like that. So anyway, so here we go. So essentially, I'll pick up where we left off in episode number 1. I have been downtown a couple of times talking with the folks at the supply store, the seed store, just about every place that I kind of know to go about trying to find someone that's willing to come out here and help me work, do some of the chores and everything that need to be done here on the farm. As I kind of set the stage up in episode number 1, you know, this is a Mr. Thornton owned operation. You guys are familiar with him from my Thornton Farm series, and you know, I would absolutely love to have either Smithy or Thomas from Thornton Farm here on this map, but you know, I can't steal those guys away from that operation. As you know, when I left to go back to the States, I turned things over to Thomas. Thomas had really grew in his knowledge of agriculture and animal husbandry and such, and so Smithy, from what I understand, Smithy's been doing a fantastic job as well. There's a possibility that maybe you know, Smithy might at some point be ready to take over Thornton Farm and basically have his own crew and everything there. And that might free up the ability for Thomas to maybe come and work for me, because as I've shared with you, and as we've often talked about, you know, Mr. Thornton is wanting to basically buy up some more farms, some more fields and such, and there might be an opportunity for a guy like Thomas to come out here in this area. We're not that far away from Thornton Farm, from the Cotswolds. We're here in basically the Cornwall area of England, and could have somebody like a Thomas come here, spend some time with me, and bring him kind of up to speed on what needs to be done and everything, and then I could branch off and go a mile or so over as Mr. Thornton adds more farms and fields and everything to his enterprise. One of the reasons why, and I know I talked a little bit about this during the Thornton Farm series, is that you know, a lot of these farms, well, first of all, farming in general, regardless of where you might be, is often farmers and everything are mistreated in some aspects. We don't appreciate the hard work that they put into everything that they do for us as consumers, and that's no different regardless of whether you're in the U.S. or the UK or really wherever. And so some of these farms are, you know, multi-generational farms. Maybe, you know, the children of the farmers have no interest, or they didn't have kids, or whatever the case might be there. And so a lot of times these farms and these fields fall under threat of being purchased. Now there's two different kind of two different things that sometimes will that we see purchasing this. Both are pretty much as bad as each other. The first is the big corporate farming. The problem with the big corporate farming, and I know I've talked about this before, is the fact that these guys come in, they buy up the fields, they buy up the farms, they don't really put anything into the local communities. They may hire a few. Local folks to help run the equipment and everything, but a lot of times they're bringing in foreigners to help with running the day-to-day operations, and so everything gets shipped out of the region. And again, so many of these smaller communities, and this community is no different. They basically depend on these farmers. We've got a lot of businesses like bakeries and wool merchants and stuff like that that depend on us to do what we do. The other potential danger that comes to these types of communities are the commercial enterprises that like to come in and essentially buy up old farmhouses and everything and turn them into condos, townhomes, something like that. And of course, they're not doing anything with the fields. They're not doing anything with the animal barns and such as that. Oftentimes, those things get flattened. And in many cases, what we see happen with some of the fields and everything is we will see these get basically turned into apartment communities, condos, other sort of golf courses. God forbid, we need another golf course, basically replacing some of our farmland. And so these are the things that Mr. Thornton is trying to fight, and of course we're trying to help him fight that. And of course that's why we've stepped in. That's why he's purchased the fields and the farm that I'm currently working at here along the western shore here in Cornwall. And so that's kind of what we're doing. So as I have said before, we're just going to kind of go up here and change scenery just a little bit. As I've said before, I have gone down and I've talked with some of the folks at the feed and seed places and stuff like that, and trying to basically get a grasp on who might be interested in coming out here and helping. Now here's the dilemma is I can pretty much train anybody. So in other words, we could get just Joe Blow that might have a job down at the local grocery store, supermarket, or something like that. We could bring them out here. I could teach him how to drive a tractor. I could teach him, how to run some of the equipment. I could teach him how to feed, what needs to be done as far as feeding the sheep and handling them the way that we want them to be handled. But at the end of the day, that's going to take a lot of effort. That's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of my time. Now, kind of the way that I get paid from Mr. Thornton is basically he pays me a set wage, and I pay contractors or whatever we need to bring on to do the extra work. So if I do it all myself, then obviously I make a pretty good living, but I can't do everything myself. I can't. There's just not enough hours in the day. Here it is. It's already almost 5:15. It's early spring. We don't have the sunlight, the daylight that we have in the summer. I just can't get everything done. We've got to tend the sheep. We've got 100 head of sheep here right now, and hoping to bring some more in. We've got to shear them. We've got to feed them. We've got to clean their pens. We've got to do all that kind of stuff. And really and truthfully, what I'm looking for is someone that's got some skills. That would be Thomas if I could get him away from Mr. Thornton and from Smithy, but I just don't know. Now, since I've left Thornton Farm, Thomas hired a couple of more folks there because they have increased, expanded beyond even what I expanded it, the operation. So it's possible that, it could happen. I want to try to exhaust a few more resources. There is a guy that I've got his number, and he and I have been playing phone tag this afternoon, and supposedly he's got some skills that, not really that in the animal department, but he can drive some heavy equipment and stuff like that. He has worked with some of the road crews and such, and so I want to talk to him and see how he feels, what he wants to do. The other issue is that a lot of folks are not available full time. A lot of folks kind of would like to do something part time. Well, I need a full time guy. I need, at least one full time guy. I would like to have somebody that will show up at 7 o'clock in the morning and be available to put in a good 12, well, maybe not 12-hour days in the early spring, but by the time we get into summer, get around to starting to look at harvest and stuff like that, yeah, I need good long days out of them. I don't need someone that's going to have to stop and knock off and go to school and or go to another part-time job or whatever. So it's gonna. I know the ask is rather large. It's rather a pretty big ask on what I'm shooting for, but I do think it is possible. We'll just have to see. I've got my feelers out, and if this guy doesn't pan out, then we'll just see what happens. But so anyway, so we've got this field cultivated. What I will do in the meantime, don't know if just how much I will bring you all in to let you see, but at some point we'll come back for episode number 3 and get more into some of the farm work and stuff that's got to be done. It's all got to be done. That's the deal. I know I say that a lot in my videos that we've got to do these kind of things, but we do. And we've got to plow, we've got to cultivate, we've got to fertilize, we've got to seed, we've got to hit that post and everything as I'm backing this thing in here. So all of that's got to be done, and we will get everything done that that we need to get done. Let me just push this back a little bit right there. That is good to go. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just had way too much to eat. I can't squeeze through that post. It's almost 5:30 here in the afternoon here on this beautiful map, the Western Shore. I need to eat dinner and probably have an early night, hit things early tomorrow, get downtown, see what I can find out as far as some potential laborers that might be willing to come out here. Like I said, one person right now is all that I need. Once we get into the harvest season, yeah, we might be able to pick up, that part-time kind of individual that I described. But I really need someone full-time that'll come out here and work, put in a good hard day's work and everything, and help me out. So in any event, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for this video. I appreciate you coming by, taking a look, and spending some time with me here on Strumble Farm. Yep, we're Strumble Head Farm here in Cornwall, in England, and I appreciate you spending time with me, and I look forward to you coming back for another video here on the Western Shore or on Lone Oak Farm over on Farm Sim 19. And really appreciate the opportunity. Let me run down here and shut this gate. I'm going to try to be a little bit better this series about keeping gates and everything like that closed. Wouldn't want any kids to get off in here with their four-wheelers and start tearing up our beautiful looking ground. We'll just put the padlock around that. There we go. And but yeah, we're going to be ready to start planting very, very soon. And but anyway, I do appreciate you watching. And I'm going to show you some more of this beautiful map in the episodes to come. And we need to get fertilizing. I need to get a guy that on a tractor and a sprayer spraying our grass fields, because we want good yields so that we can get plenty of grass to bale up turn into silage, sell that for some income, and go from there. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I will be back here again very soon for another episode here on the Western Shore. God bless you all. Bye bye for now.